see, we got a few more minutes before we get started. All right, somebody has already joined. One person in. If you can hear me, let me know just so I know it's working. Let's see, Mike. Hey, Mike. Hello from Colorado, he says. Let's see. I'm wondering if I can make this more stable. I'm sitting on this bed and I'm afraid this thing's gonna shake. Okay. Yep. Good. You can hear me. All right. We're getting some more folks joining in. Still a couple minutes before start time. So Christopher says, hello, hello, hello. Tim says, how are you feeling? Pretty good. So I guess I'll go ahead and tell y'all, yesterday I made a post about it, but we were sitting there and we were like, you know, we've done 7 miles, I believe it was so far, somewhere around there. And then the trail was supposed to cut northwest, and then it would come back east on a road walk, like on a highway. And so we looked, and you know, this is the trail of create your own adventure. So we looked and we were like, you know, if we just go northeast on Highway 90, then I mean, we're gonna have to road walk anyway, so might as well road walk here. So we created basically a self-made alternate. And I thought that at some point we would stop and camp because, you know, we haven't even done 20 miles yet. So I didn't necessarily think that we would do 28. But part of me was kind of like, we're gonna end up doing all of this 21 miles. I just know it. And so we did 21-mile road walk and plus the 7. So it ended up being a 28-mile day. So my feet are a little swollen, my knees are a little swollen, but pretty much feeling fine. And it was actually pretty exciting just to do something completely different. So I'm gonna move this thing real quick. Sorry, I just feel like it's shaking so much sitting on the bed here. So I'm gonna move something over and get a more stable setup here. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, let's see if that works better. Okay, yeah, that's much better. That way it's not making y'all, you know, feel seasick or something. So I'll still be able to read the questions that pop up here. So, all right. Oh. Okay. A little scattered. All right, so yeah, we've got about 30 folks in here now. Okay, so let's see. So feeling pretty good. Feet, hips are still kind of sore, but it's just because I'm getting used to carrying all of this water, having to carry a lot of water. It's not good for breaking in the legs, but otherwise, I mean, everything's normal. It's nothing like abnormal the way that I'm feeling. So Karen says, hi from Colorado. This is my first live chat. I'm so excited I can hardly type. Yay! Well, I'm happy that you're excited. I'm excited that you're excited. So several of y'all in here from Colorado tonight. So we'll be coming through there. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello from Canada. That's awesome. Love the story about the calf. It's that kind of personal stuff that makes your trail journals far more interesting than most hiking blogs. Keep up the quality reports. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the calf thing was crazy. So I had gotten, when we met that horse Chestnut that we called her, I had gotten actually sidetracked. I don't know if I included that, but so I was going down dirt road, and a lot of the trail is like on dirt roads because they haven't actually established a good trail. So they just have, you know, basically said, well, we're going to make it go down this dirt road instead. And so I was going down a dirt path. Well, it actually cut back up into the brush, but I didn't notice that had happened. And so I missed the turn, and I ended up going left instead of, well, going straight and not cutting back right. So anyway, I get going a ways, and then I see these cows, and I'm like, oh, I want to catch up to the cows and see if I can, like, you know, capture them on video. And these cows out here act like they're afraid of folks. So anyway, I tried to get up close to them, and they're running off and everything. And I'm laughing and I'm talking to him, hey, darling, and mooing at him and acting like an idiot. And, you don't normally see people out there. And next thing I know, I hear, hello. And I was like, you about scared me to death. And this man's like, you're not on the trail, right? And I'm just like, no, let's see. Okay, sorry to interrupt. John Walters, you just, I noticed, I got a notification you commented on the Patreon post, and maybe you did that on purpose, but it said something about you can't watch and type at the same time. But if you want to comment on the YouTube video or whatever, you gotta click the link and go into YouTube and comment there. Because if y'all comment on the Patreon post, I might can see it on the notification that pops up, but anyway, so the best way to interact here is to go into YouTube and do it, just in case anybody's watching and why is she not answering my question? It's because if it's on Patreon, then I don't see it. So you click the link, go into YouTube, and comment there. And okay, so just to go back, so I got talking to those cows, and then I got talking to the owner, and then his wife came up, and we're all talking about stuff and about old country music, and then we talked about the horse Chestnut, and they said that their son owns Chestnut and all that. So anyway, small talk, left, didn't think anything else about it. A few days later, getting back on the trail from Lordsburg, and I see this calf in the shade, and he's just stumbling and breathing hard, and I can tell I've been around cows enough to know that this isn't normal, or it's not okay. He's not okay. And we hadn't seen any cows in forever, so I'm like, he's been deserted. His mama just left him to die and wasn't worried about it. So I was like, I can't just leave this calf here, and I can't pick it up and carry it to Canada with me. And I didn't know what to do, so I'm thinking, well, I could call the NRCS, who I know would who owns that land, but they were closed because it's a Saturday. I tried anyway, and so then I thought, well, what about those people that I randomly met because I went the wrong way because I was distracted by their cows? And so I Googled their name, and luckily their phone number, they still had a landline. So I was able to get in touch with them. They gave me the number, yada, yada, yada. So it's just by happenstance, I was able to save that calf. And I'm really glad. I couldn't have left and felt good about myself. I was involved, So anyway, it was kind of a cool story. But yeah, and then it ended up, he let us use a water source that he normally doesn't, and the pap was not flowing into the tank, so I messaged him again. I'm like, sorry to bother you again, it's me again, but is this pap supposed to be out of the tank? And he's like, no, please put it back in. And so I fixed it for him, and then they offered us jobs. It was kind of funny, but of course we declined. But anyhow, okay, wouldn't that be a twist to be like, oh, I'm not hiking anymore, I'm gonna work on this cattle ranch now? But okay, so hello, still folks are joining. Oh, at least one of us is joining from the White Mountains of New Hampshire. That's awesome. Paul says, hey, Dixie, really look forward to following your hike this year. Well, I'm glad. I'm so many people have been excited about it, and it makes me more excited to be doing it. So I'm glad that y'all feel that way. How does the first part of the CDT compare with the first part of the PCT? So somebody asked that, and I don't think it was you, but somebody commented on the Patreon post that said they weren't going to be here. But anyway, so it's similar in the way that it is the desert, and it is dry, and it is warm and windy, but it's more extreme of all those here. So the desert on the PCT starting out, it was warm, but it was not as warm yet, and it did get colder at night than it has been getting here. But there was way more shade on the PCT than there has been on the CDT so far. Now we just started getting to some areas that actually remind me of the PCT in the way that there is some shade, there are some trees, there is some brush that you can kind of hide behind and shade yourself. Still haven't had any natural water sources on trail, relying on cattle troughs, and the caches end at Lordsburg, so it's just been cattle troughs going north. But when we hit the Gila alternate, there are going to be the Gila River, so we'll be crossing that several times. So it does remind me a lot of the PCT, but just a little bit more extreme desert so far. So let's see. Oh, Ed says he made it after all. Didn't think he was going to make it. Robin's here. Okay, let's see. How is the navigation on the CDT? Doesn't look like it's well marked. Gut hook. In reach with the map paired to the iPhone. Looks like it's easy to get turned around out there. So, Tony, yes. There are parts that it could be easy to get turned around. The first section, there was like one stretch of like maybe 8 miles or so. I don't remember exactly how long, that it was like playing find the fence post the whole time. But got gut hooks. The inReach also has a map with the trail that's on there. So that is nice to have as a backup if my phone bites the dust. And then, you know, they do have some signage. There might be blue paint on a rock. You know, we've had to climb up under a lot of barbed wire fences. That's something that's different. You know, on the PCT, there's always a gate or a stile. On this trail, there's been like, you just climb under the fence and you gotta put your pack under there or do the limbo with it or whatever. So sometimes there will be like a blue fence post and, you know, like that's where I cut under. Or there's either been something painted blue, a CDT sign, or like cairns. So there is normally some kind of signal, but you have to be paying more attention because you can pass the thing that's signaling you and not realize, you know, if you're off in La La Land. And so I've been listening to Patrick Swayze's audiobook the past, well, really just yesterday. It's so good. But it's easy when you get in zones like that to get distracted and not pay as much attention and miss a turn. But luckily there have been a lot of gravel roads that you can follow to correct your mistake. So it's not been really too bad. But if I hadn't done the AT and the PCT, it might be a little bit more difficult. So let's see. Very cool story, and your heart of gold is priceless. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just love animals. I mean, I don't like for anything to suffer. So it just, I know it's going to turn into a steak eventually anyway, but like to die miserably hot and dehydrated in the desert, I just can't imagine an animal having to do that. So not if I can help it. Are you using Garmin inReach to upload your Patreon post? No, Thomas. Actually, I don't think I can. I think I can post to Facebook and different things. I don't think Patreon is an option. What I'm using is just the internet or signal data. I've actually had enough signal to, every time I make a post, I've either been in town or I'll get on top of a hill and have enough signal. So the first couple of days didn't have any, but here lately in between, as I got close to Lordsburg and then in between Lordsburg and Silver City, because they're kind of bigger towns, you know, I've had pretty good cell reception. So that's been nice. So if I don't get cell reception as well in the next stretch, y'all don't think that I've just neglected y'all or forgot about y'all. It's just that I haven't had service. Brian is here. Karen says, has scientist Perk measured the temp of the desert floor in the heat of the day? How hot has it been on the soles of your shoes? You know, Perk could not find the same thermometer. He found one that was like a little more expensive than he remembers paying for it, and it's good to be frugal. I shouldn't laugh, but he's so funny. He's like, yeah, I saw it was like $10, and I thought, oh, it's not worth that. You know, the last one I paid for was like $3. And so anyway, his other thermometer broke in Manning Park when we finished the PCT. It was so crazy. Like, it just quit working. So he hasn't had his thermometer, and he is missing it, I think. So I should get him one on Amazon and have it sent to a trail town or something. But yeah, so it's been in the mid 80s, which doesn't seem that bad, but when you're higher up and then you've got the sun just basking on you all day and there's no getting out of it except for I have an umbrella, thank goodness. It gets hot, but my feet haven't felt too hot. Not really, you know, and when I'd stop and take a break, I'd take my shoes off and let my feet air out. So it really hasn't been, it'll get worse. So I'm glad we're getting through it now. You and Perk are experienced. How's Aaron doing with the high miles? Aaron's hanging in like a champ. I mean, we all are pretty much in the same boat physically starting out. And I think Aaron might have even been doing a little bit more physical activity than Perk and I. I think the main thing that Perk and I would have over Aaron, if anything, is just like the mentality. And yesterday when we were doing that 28-mile stretch, I mean, Aaron was hanging in just like Perk and I, you know, just like the same. But Perk and I were joking. At one point, Aaron was behind us, and I was like, we should holler back to him, you know, that like, don't worry, just push through the pain of your feet because they'll go numb eventually, you know. And we were like laughing about that. And Perk was like, yeah, just before they rot off, you'll feel nothing. It's okay. And like we seriously laughed about that so much, like, because honestly, when I did the 24-hour challenge, one of my toes had that gnarly blister, and it looked like it was rotting. And I'd sent a picture of it to Aaron, and he said, like, it looks like you forgot to put your toe in the refrigerator, like it just spoiled or something. And so we just laughed and laughed about that yesterday. But so no, he's hanging in just fine, actually, just fine. Let's see. What are the nighttime temps? So starting out, I want to say that it was like maybe in the 60s, upper 60s or something. There have been some nights lately where it's gotten down to like mid 40s, I believe. So it actually got kind of chilly. As soon as I sent home, I had a warmer sleeping top, and as soon as I sent it home, it got cold at night. But I still have the puffy. I'll never get rid of this. Like, never send it home, because you just never know when you're gonna have a snap, and I like to have this. I don't know. And if nothing else, it's my pillow. So, so yeah, it has been chilly a little bit lately. Hey there from Tahoe. How are your spirits holding up? Yeah, I remember, Kelly, you commented that on the post. Spirits are good. I'm actually, let's see, you said I can't tell you how much you pick my spirits up every time I hear my phone beep with a post from you. Thanks so much. That's so sweet. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I'm glad that I figured out to get notifications. Yeah, if y'all want to get notifications when I make a post, you know, sorry. Whoop. Sorry, y'all, got a phone call. So sorry about that. It was actually my friend Airborne Colin, who is on the PCT right now. I don't know, some of y'all may have seen me post about him on Facebook in the Homemade Wanderlust Backpacking Forum group on Facebook. But he's on the PCT right now, so he was just calling, I guess, to tell me how he's doing. So sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, if you don't know, like, say you don't check your email, so you're not getting notifications to that email, or you're not checking it, so you're not getting them for Patreon, and you want to get them when I make a post. If you get the Patreon app, then it should, and you select to get notifications, then you should get them. Or you can just check in, you know, randomly and see what you want to see when you want to see it, kind of thing. So it's just according to how you want to do it. But spirits are good. Actually, I think my spirits are getting better and better as the trip goes on, especially yesterday, because we are idiots. I mean, we cut out on this 21-mile road walk with 1 liter of water each, not really knowing what we were going to encounter, but just kind of having faith, like, it's going to work out. At least it's a busy highway. If we got in a bind, we could stick our thumb out and hitch a ride to town, you know, instead of walking. So there was some comfort in knowing that we weren't in the middle of nowhere with no water. We were at least on a highway to go to a town. So we ended up finding an RV park about 6 miles down the road and filled up with water there, and, you know, we were absolutely fine. So just kind of throwing the faith out there, like, somehow this is going to work out. We're doing it. And it was really exciting. So, okay, let's see. So yeah, spirits are good. Is Perk still carrying the uke, and is he playing? Yes, he actually, I think, is still happy that he has his uke. He plays every so often, you know, he'll walk a little while and then he's like, oh, it's in my hands, might as well play it. And so he plays at breaks, and so, you know, he's working on the singing, but he is playing, and the playing is getting better. Sorry if I missed this. Are you hiking on private property easements at time, or is it all public lands? Both. Yes, some are easements, and for example, the post that I made about saving the calf, like, that is through private land, but, you know, an easement where the trail is. So you definitely have to be respectful of that, and I don't know if people, you know, necessarily realize that, but something to think about for sure. You know, you are on private property, and you have to, which you should respect public land anyway, right? But for example, that rancher said, you know, the pipe that was pulled out of his big tank. So you got a pumping up water, and it's flowing through a pipe, and it was through a windmill. So the windmill is running and, you know, pumping water out of a well, I assume, and then flowing into a big tank, which flows into a cattle trough. So the pipe was hanging out of the tank and it's flowing onto the ground instead of into the tank. And so I told him about it, and he was like, yes, please fix that for me. And he said, see, that's what happens when we have hikers come through. And he's like, I'm just glad that y'all are doing the opposite and helping. So, I guess a hiker saw, hey, there's a windmill, there must be some water, and pulled the pipe out and filled up their bottle and just left it out. And it's like, you have to think about these things. When you open a gate, close it. When you pull a pipe out and get some water, put it back in. It's like, it's such common sense and common courtesy, but I think that those things aren't necessarily common anymore. That's what the problem is. So, what food is Aaron craving on a town day? Hey, Aaron, what food are you craving on a town day?
Pizza.
Pizza, he says. Pizza. So, that's a good one. Pizza is good. You want pizza for dinner?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. Patrick Swayze audiobook. I always learn something from you. Yeah, okay. So, Robin, I just have to say, it was kind of random, but I was in town and, I got some garbage Facebook article about, 12 things you didn't know about the movie Dirty Dancing. And I'm like, I like that movie. I'll see what 12 things they think I didn't know and see if I really knew them. And one of the things was that, like, Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey didn't necessarily, like, jive on set. And so I, like, Googled that separately to read more about it, like, how bad was it? Were they, like, fighting, or were they just, like, didn't love each other kind of thing, and come to find out, he just thought she was kind of, like, immature, but I guess he still felt like she, like, definitely played a good part and made the movie kind of thing, so but he just would get annoyed with her. And but then it talked about, and it showed an excerpt from his book, and I was like, Patrick Swayze wrote a book? What? And so he's actually reading it out loud too. So, like, Patrick Swayze is in my ear talking to me while I'm hiking, and it's great. And it talks about how he grew up, and he didn't have, like, a silver spoon in his mouth. He worked hard for everything and was very determined. And I think even in fighting cancer, had that same determination. So it talks about how when he's faced with his own mortality, his perspective changed. And I feel like, on a lighter sense, through hiking is that way. It for me, at least, it has changed my perspective a lot. So I was like, I want to check it out. And so far, it's actually really good. I've enjoyed it. So some of y'all might like that. And if you don't like audiobooks, well, there's the print version too, and probably the ebook version. There we go. Have you dehydrated any of your meals for this trip? Nathan, I did not dehydrate food like I did for the AT. But what I did is I got some dehydrated ground beef and vacuum sealed it. So I've brought some of it with me, had some of it sent to me, and we'll probably restock on that when I go home for my sister's graduation. So I didn't dehydrate it myself. I will say that my recipe, which I have a video on where I dehydrated it for the AT, it tastes a lot better than, like, the Mountain House ground beef, but it's still good. So, I added it to mashed potatoes with some cheese the other night and called it, like, Trail Shepherd's Pie. That was Perk's idea, and it was actually really good. So it's good, but it's just not as good as if I had dehydrated it at home. But that's okay. It took less time. That's the only thing that I really did any processing with myself. So now that you have been on trail for a while, are you glad you didn't bring Fancy? I'm glad I didn't bring her for her. Like, I actually really miss my children a lot, my dog children. But it's been so hot and so little shade, and Fancy being a black dog, I feel like she would be absolutely miserable in the heat of the desert, and I would have to be carrying even more water. So it is probably good that I didn't bring her. However, when I go to fill in some of the holes on the PCT, I was thinking it would be kind of cool to take her out there with me, to get in a section, and it'd be like in Oregon and those areas, not the desert. Well, there's one closure in the desert that I have to get, but one little part wouldn't be so bad. But just like miles and miles and miles and day after day after day of having her in the desert, I would be worried about her. So, so yes, for her sake, I'm glad I didn't bring her. Hi, Dixie. The twins and I made it. Oh, good, Diana. I'm glad that y'all were able to join. That's so cool that they actually find interest in this. So, hi, twins. Do you feel like you have your trail legs yet? No, not quite. I feel like I'm getting broken in, but definitely that 28 was painful. So didn't come easy, you know. So not yet. And we haven't had a whole lot of climbing. So once we hit, you know, steeper terrain, I'm gonna feel it. I'll have to get second trail legs probably. So I'm so thrilled with your photography, Dixie. Yay! I'm glad you like it. I don't know. I really enjoy getting shots of, you know, the little critters and the flowers and that stuff. And I actually got an ant the other day. I'm really excited. He was like digging in the dirt. He was like flicking dirt, and it was kind of cool. But hi Dixie, Jim from cold, snowy PA. Rather be with y'all in New Mexico. Be careful what you wish for. Honestly, though, if I had to pick freezing cold snow or hot desert, you're right. I'd probably go with hot desert. But I freeze. I mean, I'm sitting in a room with a puffy on, right? So yeah, I bet you're ready for some sunshine there, Jim. Brian says, do you know Nimble Will Nomad? We'll spend Friday night with him and then tidy up new part of Pinhoti Section 1 and start my through hike. Enjoy your zero. Thank you, Brian. That sounds really familiar, but I don't know. I'll have to look him up. But yeah, that name sounds very, very familiar. So, but I hope that y'all have a good time. I can't wait to do the Pinhoti, to be honest. I'm pretty excited about it just because it's in my home state, and I don't know. I just think that'd be cool. I'm toying with the idea of doing it right after I get done with the CDT, but we'll see. Hey, from Kentucky, it is freezing here. Wish I was there. Praying you have awesome daily moments. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, y'all are right. I do like the heat over the cold. So, you know, on the days where I'm just like, oh, it is so hot, I'm like, well, you know what? At least I'm not freezing cold right now. So I do always say that. And I say later when it is cold, I'm gonna regret not enjoying this heat. Tim says, have you seen any more through hikers? Nope, still just the ones. Well, we saw one more in Lordsburg, so I guess I've seen 6 others total now. Last night, Perk and I had dinner with one of the guys that we had seen before, and we caught up with him in this town. So, but he hiked out today. So he's a pretty cool fella. I think his Instagram is who goes from place to place, I believe is his Instagram name. But I posted a picture of him on Instagram a few days ago. But he's a really cool fella. He's in his early 30s, and this is his first through hike. So I just think that that's really neat. But let's see. Hi from Michigan. Hey, Julie. You know, Michigan is one of the 3 states that I have not been to yet. Michigan, Indiana, and Alaska. So I'm going to have to go there sometime. I've been waiting, I'm like, somebody will get married in Michigan at some point, but they haven't yet. So, all right, sister, my internet connection is failing me. Happy hiking and good night. Well, thank you for joining, Robin, and we will see y'all later, I guess. And, you know, whenever your internet works, then if you want to watch the rest of it, then it'll be here. How needed a tetanus shot? Oh, Julie, are you talking about the picture I posted of my finger? I'm gonna live though. I'm not dying. But yeah, my finger got, whenever I was I think, my pack got hung. My tent actually was on the back of my pack and got hung on the barbed wire, and in trying to get that off and get loose going through a little stile, stabbed my finger on the barbed wire, so it didn't feel good. Any changes to the types of food you love or hate? Still not crazy about certain things, but no, honestly, well, the biggest change that I've noticed is I haven't really wanted ramen noodles much. I've had, I think, 1 pack the whole time I've been out here. And I had to, I added some stuff to it to kick it up a notch, you know, but, and I haven't been too crazy about the idea of mashed potatoes. And those are 2 staples that I was not tired of on the PCT. So it's kind of interesting to see that I'm like, but not tired of fettuccine, the Alfredo pasta sides, not tired of that one yet. So it might happen, but, let's see. What else? Where am I at? Okay, the tetanus shot. Yeah, I think I got a tetanus shot not that long ago, hopefully. I can't remember, so we'll see what happens. Any change to the types of food you love or hate? Okay, that's the one I just did. All right, I was wondering if you would film Perk's morning routine on how he makes coffee. I've been wanting to ask that since y'all started the PCT, so I joined Patreon. Well, I hate to bring you down. He got rid of, well, he didn't get rid of, he didn't bring his AeroPress this time. So he's doing a pour over little thing. So I can definitely video him doing his pour over coffee one morning. I'm sure he will be happy to demonstrate. So I don't know if that will be as exciting for you as not having the AeroPress, but that's the way he does it. And now he doesn't have his thermometer, so he can't take the temperature. But I'll get him doing the pour over. He's so funny the way he explains things too. So, hello from Pensacola. Have you noticed the desert things are further away than they appear? I found that out the hard way. Yes. Like, we approached these mountains, and we approached the mountains, and we approached the mountains all day, and we approached them, and they finally got to us, but it just felt like you're getting nowhere. Exactly. That's exactly how it feels. I made it on time. Hey, Dixie. Hope you're not blowing away out there. The wind is super crazy here in Colorado. Yeah, the wind has been trying, for sure. It was nice on the pavement yesterday to keep us cool, but like, it's been a test for sure. Does Aaron have a trail name yet? Yes, his name is Android, and we kept joking because we'd ask him like, oh, how do you feel? And he's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, and so it was more or less like, no emotion. And Park keeps making jokes about him. Yeah, well, you haven't been programmed to have feelings about this, and I don't know. It kept going on, and so yep, his trail name is Android. Is Verizon your phone service provider? Yes, Scott. Yeah, Verizon is what I have. Jim says, how's the BRS stove working out? So good question. It is not as steady. I do not feel as confident with it sitting, my pot sitting on it as I did with the, is it BSR, BRS, MRS? I think it's BRS. But as my no, it's not MRS, it's MSR. Oh my God. So it is BSR. I don't remember. Anyway, you know what the lat stove that I have now. But the Pocket Rocket was better, and I felt like it was more durable. I feel like the little arms of the small stove get hot and kind of bend and stuff. So I've had a couple of tip overs. I'm careful to not have it where it will spill onto me. But so far, even though it's not as like durable, and when I go to turn it off, it gets a little crazy and like throws a flame, or whatever sometimes, but nothing that I won't be swapping back to the Pocket Rocket anytime soon because it's so light. The new one's so light that it's worth it to me, even though it's, a little temperamental, I guess. But so yeah, it's not like as good or as good quality, but it's working just fine. So Cheyenne would like to know if you've seen any poisonous snakes. Nope. Actually, we had a bet going when we first started. It was like, I said that around 10, or my bet was, well, we all picked a number, and I thought it was going to be like within X amount, but they were saying we're going to go by Price is Right rules. So my number was 10. We didn't see it by 10. So then Perk said 11, and Aaron said 40. So technically right now, even though we're at mile 160, I think, we haven't seen any rattlesnakes or any other venomous snake. And so unless we don't see one until the end, Aaron's the closest without going over, right? So Park and I are like hoping that we don't see one so that, it's all a tie and nobody wins. Or we all win or we all lose, however you want to say it. Let's see. Are you still running a camera, or is Aaron taking over that task more? So Aaron he's got a camera with him that he's videoing. He's getting some footage on his phone, but I'm still doing everything as if Aaron wasn't here. Like, as far as still capturing the same things that I would whether he was here or not. So I think he's getting more stuff with me in it. So he says that, it would connect better. Like, it's not just like me videoing myself and then seeing nature. It's like also me in it. And he's got like a fancy camera, so he's getting some shots with that also. So it's more of a collaboration this time, but I'm still recording as much as if, you know, he wasn't here. And it's so funny sometimes because he'll be near me when I'm recording something, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this. I don't know if Aaron will use it, but he'll have it if he wants to. And it's so funny because he's right there, you know. But that's how it always was on the PCT. It was like, I'm gonna get something just in case Aaron wants to use it. And so I'll say that sometimes to Aaron because I always used to say it to Perk, so it's kind of funny. Let's see. See many snakes so far? I haven't seen a single snake, not one. John Walters here. Finally figured it out. Thank you for sharing your adventure with me. I like the PCT videos. Let's see. I'm not sure what you meant there, but anyway, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you figured out where to comment so that I can see them. So awesome. So next time you'll know. And thank you for joining. Keith says, hey Dixie, got my first moment lens in yesterday. Pretty impressed so far. Besides the macro, what other lenses do you use? Thanks for the recommendation. The macro is definitely the go-to. I have the wide angle, and then I also have the, oh gosh, what's it called? It's like the zoom one. Hey Aaron, do you remember what that lens is called? Not the wide, oh, the telelens. Never mind, got it. I just had to ask you and then I knew. So it's the telelens. So I have those three. Use the macro the most, use the wide angle second, and then the tele third, probably just because I'm not as familiar with it, so I'm kind of like, on when to use it, but haven't used the wide a whole lot either, but the macro I've used several times. I just love that one. I just love it. So, let's see. Did you get a pedicure, or do you get a pedicure on THRU-HIKEs? You know, I never have, like, during a THRU-HIKE, and maybe I should, but I kind of feel like the calluses that you build up are probably a good thing, just to kind of protect your feet, but I don't know. And plus, I feel bad for somebody having to like smell that hacker funk, but it probably would feel really good. So it's a thought. Maybe when I go home for my sister's graduation, we'll all get one together or something. I don't know if Perk and Aaron would be up for it, but I don't know. We'll see. Actually, maybe I shouldn't share this about Perk, but I'm going to anyway. So he got waxed last trail, like all his, so that when he goes number 2 in the woods, he says it makes it cleaner. So I don't know. Some of you guys might be interested in trying that if you're going to be going to the bathroom in the woods for a while. So just on that note. All right. Anyway, have you tried any new local cuisine? So in Lordsburg, there was only like one restaurant really that was open at McDonald's. So we ate there, but we ate there so many times that it was just like, it wasn't even that great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great. I won't miss it. But this town, there's a brewery, and they've got some pretty decent stuff, and it's like decent prices. So it's like really good price for the stuff that they serve. So that is the brewery. They also, I guess it's distillery and brewery because they've got their own whiskey there too. So we tested some of that last night. So that was kind of cool. Did you ever meet some other THRU-HIKE vloggers that hiked the AT or PCT a different year from you, like Darwin, of Darwin on the Trail? I enjoy the differences between the two of you. No, actually, well, the only vlogger that I believe I have met is Chocolate Balls from the PCT. I can't remember right now what his channel name is. But if you've seen him, you know who I'm talking about. But so I met him briefly in Idlewild, and that is the only vlogger. Oh, I guess Juliana Chauncey. I don't remember what her trail name was, but I was around her for a little while at the beginning of the PCT. So, but other than those two, nope, I haven't met Darwin, but I know who he is. So, but yeah, yeah, it's funny. We're all in the same realm, and we don't really know each other, you know, except for through YouTube. But yeah, I'm sure at some point I will run into these folks, just whether a trail days or on a trail or whatever. I met John Z also actually, and Jupiter Hikes. I don't know if y'all are familiar with them, which I don't think Jupiter has vlogged a whole lot, but John Z has definitely put out some videos. So met him also. But Jupiter's doing a yo-yo this year of the PCT. So go north, turn around at Canada, and coming back. So bless him, because that's crazy. But it's really cool to see people, you know, challenge themselves like that. So I enjoy it, and I think it's neat that different people do different things. So you're right. It's good to have differences for sure. We need some camp video with ukulele background music. Yeah, well, I'll tell you when it's going to be really nice is when we get further north and start having some fires, and you got the ukulele with the fire, and Perk will be practiced by then. It'll be great. I'm really looking forward to that. So, how cold does it get at night? The lowest it's gotten is in the 40s, but it's been between, I'd say, like the 40s and the 60s. So it's kind of, we had a cold front move in. Hey there, lady. It's unseasonably cold by me. How's the weather down there? All right, there you go. It's been between like low of 40 at night and like high of 80, mid 80s, maybe even upper 80s during the day. So, but there have been some days that are in the 70s. You know, just it's been different from the start. It was really warmer, and then we had a cold snap. But the reliability of the pocket rocket over the BSR is worth the 2 extra ounces in my opinion. Yep, and I mean, I completely understand that. I understand how it could go both ways, and for me, I'm like, I'm like careful enough and keep that in my mind enough. But yeah, if you don't want to have to worry about it, then the pocket rocket is a really good stove. It's just $40 versus like $11, and then like you said, yeah, it's a couple ounces because the BSR is less than an ounce, so it's kind of crazy. But what luxury item do you bring that you couldn't do without? You know, I have cold. I don't even have camp shoes anymore. I don't have town dress anymore. I even cut my journal. So I guess that's the one thing. My journal, it's a composition notebook, and what I did is I pulled out the threading and took out half the pages, and so I'll get those pages sent to me and mail the other ones home, because I like having the outside of the composition notebooks to put stickers on, and I've been keeping a journal and a composition notebook since I was like 14. I mean, there have been gaps, don't get me wrong, even like maybe a year or more of gaps, but every time I've written in a journal since I was 14, it's been in one of those. So I just didn't want to take anything different on the trail, but I couldn't justify 11 ounces anymore. You know, I did on the AT and the PCT, and I was like, I need to lighten it up for the CDT. So that's what I did. So it's like 5 to 6 ounces. And to me, it's worth it. Like I would rather have that than my camp shoes. And I do have my collapsible Sea to Summit cup that I like having also, because it's got the increments of, you know, volume, or cups, you know. It's got the little marks to let you know how much you're measuring out. So I like that, and I like to be able to drink my coffee while I'm eating my breakfast, and so, you know, it's my thing. Hello, so sorry for being late. I'll catch the posting. Happy walking, Nora. Thank you, Thomas. Gibson loved the baby calf and wants to know, what is your favorite pizza? Now that is a serious question. When you get to talking about pizza, it's pretty serious. So I personally really like veggie pizza plus chicken. So I like you know, all the vegetables that like a lot of people probably don't like. So I really like having bell peppers, onions, mushrooms, spinach if I can, just all the vegetables you can think of. Throw in some jalapenos, that'd be great, and some grilled chicken, and that's my favorite. But the boys, they mainly are like, as long as there's meat on it, you know, but they like pepperoni, I think, a good bit. So let's see. Dawn says, proud of you. Well, thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. Darren says, hello from Australia. Just found the link. Have you and Aaron been intentionally staying together? Who is a faster hiker? Ha. So we've actually all been camping together. We tend to hike alone during the day. There are parts where some of us will pair up and then we split off. But we've all been camping together. I think we enjoy that, you know, having somebody around, but also getting alone time too. So and somebody asked that said they couldn't make it, you know, if we were going to intentionally all stay together, or whether we were going to split off and have some alone time. And also, you know, it's just a different, like when I started through hiking, I was a solo hiker completely. And then when I started the PCT, you know, Perk and I started together, but we got separated for a while, and then I caught up to him. And so on this one, you know, 3 of us started together, and they were just wondering how that is. So I think if we all stayed together 24/7, we would be crazy. But just having that time to hike alone and enjoy being in nature, and then have somebody to talk to and camp with, and oh, this happened today, or how was that climb, or whatever. The camaraderie is good, especially on a trail where you don't run into many people. So I think until I go to graduation, we will definitely probably all stick together. Aaron is probably, well, he had said he thinks he'll stay out here to catch up on editing while I go home for graduation. We will stick together for the most part, I think, head north. I don't know what Perk is going to do. He may hang out with one of his friends that lives in New Mexico, or he may decide to keep hiking, or he could potentially decide he wants to come home and hang out in Alabama, So I think whatever Perk feels like is speaking to him at that time is what he'll do. So we'll just see. Don't know yet. Let's see. Oh, where am I at? Wow. Okay, so that let's see. All right, so that was the question from Darren. And then congrats Dixie on 500 patrons. Thanks for the card. I got it last week. Yay! Yeah, I saw that today. I was like, 500 patrons. That is crazy. Like I never thought that many people would be interested in what I'm doing. It's just it still blows my mind, and I'm glad. It makes me feel good, especially when people are like, oh, you inspired me to get out and hike this weekend, or section hike, or through hike, or just do the thing that I've been wanting to do forever. Because I guess we all get inspiration from somewhere, and it feels strange to me to think that I was that for somebody else, but it also is a good, it's a good feeling. It makes me happy to know that, because, I've got my inspiration from people. And so we all get it from somewhere, and knowing that I've been able to pay it forward even one time is like, it's a really good feeling. So thank you, for saying that, Jim. And let's see. Yes, don't get pedicure. All of my friends that got pedicures got blisters. Okay, well, good to know. There we go. I kind of had that feeling, and I got one not too long before I started, just as like a kind of like a going away thing with my sister, just to spend some time with her. But it was still it was a few weeks before starting. So, are you using the same trail runners as the PCT? Yes, still using Ultras. These are actually Lone Peak 3.5, so they're the newer ones, and they're actually a little bit, I think, smaller, but it's okay because I think I'm wearing 11s, and I think I could have probably gotten away with a 10.5, but I was afraid to try it. So these are actually a little bit smaller, so I think they fit pretty well. I don't have any toenails popping off so far, so we're good. AA run. I use Charmin wipes. Yeah, I use wipes too. Aaron uses wipes. Perk doesn't. Perk's been playing this game of no poops in the woods. So he actually lost yesterday at, I can't remember what mile, but he was very disappointed with himself. He said, I started sweating and it wasn't the heat. So anyway, he lost the game, but yeah. Perk daily Metamucil makes for a clean BM2. I will have to let him know that. It snowed today in the Colorado high country, so tarry a while in Texas. I gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy that it's snowing, but it'll be good for water. So, is there trail days for the CDT? Yes, there is, and I believe it's here in Silver City, but we'll be gone. It could be something that we hitch back for, but I don't know. For us, it might be better to just take that time that we would do that and take off and rest. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Dixie, when will you play your harmonica for us? So I've had it bounced ahead. I haven't actually used it yet. It was like I was wanting to get everything else settled. So maybe when we start having some fires and things like that, and I can play around with it. I need to look up a good beginner's tutorial video. I mean, I know you can blow in the thing and it sounds all right, and that's kind of foolproof, but I don't know. We'll see. I haven't started messing with it yet, especially in bear country. I'll probably practice there because, scare the bears off, hopefully, unless it sounds like sweet music to their ears and draws them in, but I doubt that. How can we help boost the Patreon numbers? Can we brag about this inside info on Facebook? Oh, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm bad at like advertising myself or whatever. I mean, all of you are here, so you found out about it somehow, right? But I don't push Patreon a lot because I don't know, folks tend to get like upset when they, feel like you're just trying to advertise to them or something. And so I've found that kind of letting things grow more organically tends to work better because, if you're doing something of quality, then people are usually interested in like, how can I support this? And I learned that because a podcast that I listen to, the Survival Podcast, like I'm a member support brigade member of his podcast, and his podcast is free. But I just kept getting all this great information from it, and I enjoyed, the entertainment of like listening to him and the things that he talks about so much that I was like, I want to support this because I want it to continue. And he does actually mention it, on his podcast. So, maybe I should mention it more. And but I don't know. I just like I hate feeling like I'm pushing something on people, So all of you are here because you want to be, and not because I was like, here, be on Patreon. But like, however, it is quite different if one of y'all mentions it, So rather than me being like, oh, this Patreon is so great, and let me tell you why, and I want you to sign up. So anyway, to answer your question, yes, I don't mind if y'all talk about it, like, oh, I'm on Patreon and I enjoy it, or whatever. Now as far as like sharing links for the live Q&A and stuff like that, I want that to be private for y'all because it is a perk and it is a part of you supporting me and me wanting to let y'all in on more of what's going on that I don't necessarily want to share with the entire world. So like the fact that I'm in Silver City, New Mexico, I don't know, so y'all are special. So let's see. So yeah, I don't mind you talking about it though. In other words, not at all. And thank you. That's a very thoughtful gesture if you do. Tacos or pizza? There's a war going on in 3rd grade. I'm gonna have to say pizza. I hope that doesn't ruin. I don't know, ruin it. I do love tacos though, and if it's like Taco Tuesday somewhere, I'll go. But honestly, Mexican food is not my like number one go-to. So I gotta say pizza. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't ruin somebody's night. Can't wait until you reach Wyoming. I think you will love the winds, the Wind River Range. Yes, I'm so looking forward to that. And I think I'm gonna be like taking too many pictures and not be able to hike probably. But I am really excited about that part. Are you still using the Black Diamond trekking poles? Yes, I have the same pair from the PCT, and they're holding up great. They're not slipping on me like when I'm going downhill. The locks, haven't given out, so I love those trekking poles. I really do. Are you seeing more wildlife yet? You will eventually. Yeah, I have seen more jackrabbits, more birds. So yeah, they're starting to be life on the CDT. So that is good. And I think especially once we get around like natural water sources, we're gonna start seeing a lot. You're only a little over 2,000 subscribers away from 100,000. Yeah, Aaron and I have a bet going on. So he says that on April 25th, when the first CDT on trail video comes out, that we will already have 100,000 subscribers. And I'm saying that we won't, because like for me it's win-win. If I'm wrong and we have 100,000, then yay, we have 100,000. And if we don't, then I'm like, haha, I was right. And so we've bet steak on it, like a steak dinner. So anyway, he says that we will have 100,000 when it comes out. And I think it's gonna hit like 5 p.m. Central Time on April 25th. And so we'll see what happens. Terry here, you're such an inspiration. Can't get hiking off the mind. Good. Don't get it off your mind. Just, keep thinking about it. Keep getting out there and doing it. So, I mean, I think literally if people got outside and walked around in nature, first of all, I just feel like, I don't know, the movement and like getting outside and exercising and getting sun, people are so vitamin D deficient, and just all of those things would just really make people a lot happier. But I'm just one opinion in a sea of them. So, what's your typical hiking day like, Dixie? Breaks, lunch during the day? How do you break up the mileage? Well, we've gotten out of camp late, as late as like 10 a.m. one morning, and then as early as like 8 one morning, or maybe 7:30, but probably 8. So then we hike, and usually we hike a good 5 miles or so. It depends also on where water is, because we like to take breaks at water so we can chug. And then probably stop for lunch at some point, maybe one other break, and then, you know, stop for camp. So, but yesterday was different. You know, we stopped at one point to get water, and that was probably like 3 to 4 miles in, and then we stopped again at like the 7-mile mark. And then we didn't stop again, and oh yeah, we did at the RV park to get water again, and then you know, once we got to town, we got to stop. So usually I would say there are maybe 3 breaks during the day total, including lunch, and that's a pretty general day. I've been cooking every day, but I just got in some summer sausage from Sally, and I am gonna eat that for lunch. So I'm not gonna be cooking this next stretch for lunch, but for dinner and breakfast probably, yes. But I did have some Pop-Tarts that I was eating for breakfast, so I wasn't cooking breakfast this last stretch, but still cooking coffee, making coffee. So anyway, let's see where else we're at. What's the most embarrassing moment so far? Well, I don't know. Aaron, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened?
My tent was upside down.
Okay, Aaron says when his tent was upside down. I don't know. I think you cleaning off your ankles after your first doo-doo in the woods is kind of funny too. But yeah, so Aaron says his tent being upside down. So the first night, he was like trying to set up his tent. He never set it up before because it came in like right before we left, and he was like messing around with it, and I was like, you know, your tent's upside down, right? Gotta flip this thing over. And so that is what he says is most embarrassing. I guess also for him, he said he had to climb out of his tent, and that when he got sick, he got diarrhea, that it looked like a cow pie, and that he had to clean his ankles off. So there's that. Otherwise, there really haven't been too many embarrassing moments. We're not real shy when it comes to like bathroom stuff. I guess in town I went to the bathroom and flushed, and like it didn't all go down. It was like kind of stuck there, and like I flushed like 100 times and it was still stuck there, and I had to make a phone call, so I ran out to take that phone call, and I came back in and I could tell somebody had used it after me. And so Perk told me that he pressure washed some of what was stuck with his pee. So that was kind of embarrassing. You know, I was like, I'm sorry that the bathroom was like that. Sorry you found it in that condition. And he was like, oh, I've seen worse, you know. But so that's a little, you know, those things more with the doo-doo than anything, I guess, for me. But alrighty, moving along. Let's see. The Patreon issue. I support other creators on Patreon, but it is normally done per video, not by month, and I pay more per month because of it. Maybe something you want to think about. So are you saying, if you don't mind me asking you about that, so are you saying you end up paying the people who do it per video more per month, or you end up paying more per month by paying monthly? Which one is more? I'm just curious, because the reason that I haven't done it by video, I think, yes, I could potentially make more, because, you know, the more videos you post, the more money. But I always feel like sometimes, for example, we put out a video that was like the PCT in 2 minutes, and it was really short. So I don't know if I was charging by the video, I don't know if I would feel good about putting out shorter videos like that. Does that make sense? Like, I would be worried that it wasn't worth the dollar amount that I got for it, you know? Whereas with doing monthly, I feel confident in that, because I know at least once a week, so I know you're going to get 4 videos that I feel good about, but there might be some extras thrown in there, like as a bonus, you know, and then these live Q&As. So it does make sense how people will do it per video, but I just like, I feel like if I was putting out something quick just to announce something, or I would feel guilty or bad about that because I know people would be charged for that. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, I don't know. That kind of stuff's important to me. I want it to be the money's worth. So, but I am curious which one you mean costs more. So, silly question. Why are most hikers using the smart water bottle? I've seen it used on several YouTubes. I think that they're lightweight. They hold up pretty well, even though they're so thin. And the threads fit the Sawyer squeeze. I use Life water bottles right now, but also the fact that they're in liter increments. So there's nothing necessarily special about it. I mean, you could probably put a Sawyer squeeze on the 2-liter Coke bottle, but the fact that you can collect your dirty water in that bottle, screw on the Sawyer, and then drink out of it is just, it's nice. So, you know. Let's see. Have you had more type 1 or type 2 fun so far? I think it's probably a good mixture of both. It has, the type 2, it has been real, but I don't know, probably more type 1, to be honest, as of now. Where have you found the best tasting water so far? It would have to be one of the cattle troughs, but probably one that we didn't have to like dip into the algal bloom water. It was like straight from the pipe. But the cache water tasted like plastic, and the town water was not good either. So I didn't mean to make fun of you with your Gilligan hat on, but you did look like Gilligan. That was my first thought, and it simply came out, oh, I'm not worried about that. I called that myself. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I look like Gilligan. And so great minds think alike, so no offense taken at all. How much does a water stash service cost on the CDT? So the cache service is from the border to mile 70, no, 80, I think is Lordsburg, or is it 85, mile 85. So you have, I think, 5 caches in there, and it's $10 total. So $2 for each cache, basically, but you get 2 gallons. So it's like $1 per gallon. So it's really a pretty good deal. Now that you're on the CDT, how do you feel about sticking strictly to trail only? There are so many alternates on this trail. There is the strict trail, but a lot of times it won't even have water. So this is very much a complete your own path. But the reason that I'm not worried about being, you know, strict, like purist, is because the CDTC says that for it to be considered a through hike of the CDT, that you must complete a continuous footpath from Mexico to Canada in the corridor that is the Continental Divide, basically. So as long as it's a continuous footpath, more or less like on, near, you know, or around the Continental Divide, that it is considered a through hike for them. So to me, you know, as long as I go by those rules, then I'm good. I feel like I need to cut on some light. I don't know if that makes it bad. Well, maybe my head will block the light. But it just is getting a little dim in here. So, all right, we got a few more here. And I've got a couple that I need to go over that people that weren't able to make it, left comments. So let's see. In which we may have answered those anyway. NYC water is awesome, by the way. Oh, good to know. Have you ever thought of hiking the NCT, then you'll see Michigan? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. It seems... I kind of want to get international now. You know, I kind of want to go do some things over there, away from here. But I don't know. We'll see. You know, that could definitely be something for the future. I'm kind of open to considering a lot of different things right now. So, and several people have said good things about the NCT. So, it's definitely like not a no. It's just like I don't know yet. Hey from Arlington, Virginia. What's your favorite Mountain House meal or dehydrated food? Oh, that's a good question. Mountain House. I don't know. That's really hard for me. I don't know. I might have to get back to you on that one. I really do. I do love Mountain House, and I like that it has meat in it, so I get that protein. But one of my favorite meals to eat on trail is probably mac and cheese. So So there's that. Like the Kraft mac and cheese, you don't have to worry about adding milk and all that. You just dump the cheese in there and, you know, with some water, boil the noodles, drain them, dump the cheese in there, stir it up. It's so good. It's so good. So that's probably one of my favorite things, but that's a hard question. I love all the mountain houses. I really like those paleo meals to go. So there is that. I don't like per video. It pressures you to make longer videos instead of smaller, interesting things. Yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. As a supporter, I feel like I get more value for the monthly payment. Okay, good. I like per month. Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah, that was my thought. You know, I don't know. I just don't feel good about doing per video because, yeah, then the little stuff I feel like I can't, you know, post it. Or like if I do, I'm taking advantage even though that wouldn't be my goal, you know, but that's how I would feel. I've got a jet for now. I'll catch the rest later. Just want to thank you so much for being you. You've inspired me to finally get out into the wilds. Look forward to your progress on trail. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for stopping in for a while, and I'm glad to hear that you've been inspired to get out there. That's awesome because I mean that's my goal. That really is. I've been learning a lot about whole food, plant-based eating lately and healthy benefits of microgreens. Are you going to get back into that once you get home? Yeah, I think I'll grow them at least for myself. You know, maybe not selling them if I'm going to go hike again so soon, but definitely for myself, yes, I love microgreens. What was your average miles per day on the PCT, and are you concerned that it might have to be higher to complete the CDT this year? I don't know exactly what my average mileage was like. I haven't actually calculated it. I would say it was probably between 20 and 25 miles. Don't know for sure though, because most of the desert I didn't do over 20s. But then after that, I feel like I did. And through the Sierra Nevada, I didn't, you know, I did some days over 20 for sure. But so I definitely want to figure that out. And for the AT, I want to like graph it and kind of play around with the numbers. But yes, I think I don't know that I'll necessarily have to have more of a daily average. Well, let me put it this way. I think I just will have to have not as many zeros. So when I took off for graduation last time, I took 17 days off. And then also through the Sierra Nevada, I went slower than I think you normally can just because of all the snow. So I think that because I won't be taking 17 days off and because, you know, I'm not going to have a huge issue of snow, that, you know, it'll work in my favor. So I think we'll be all right. Just have to watch how many zeros that we take. Yep, thanks, Dixie. I much prefer a monthly payment on Patreon. Allows us to budget better. My 2 cents. Okay, cool. Less per video, but more by month. Does that make sense? Creator can control time and what gets paid for each month. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you can control... Like, you can say, okay, I don't want to charge anybody for this video. That's interesting. Cool. Good to know. Thank you for the information. Because I've wondered, you know, how other people feel about paying per video. So yeah. How often do you see the other hikers, through hikers? On trail, not really often at all. I think there was like 2 days where we ran into other people and that's it. Otherwise, it's just been in towns. Good on you, Dixie. I believe you're successful because you do for the love of hiking and community, not money or fame. Word of mouth and great quality product are your best advertisers. Best advertisers. Don't change, Dixie. Thank you, Jim. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel. Like, I don't like... I mean, I know that in a way you have to, like, sell yourself and sell what you're doing, but I don't know. I just... It feels off if you do it too much or something. I don't know. How much desert hiking do you have left? We've got... I'm not sure. It's going to go into the Gila where it turns into a river area, you know, or river, more greenery and stuff like that. Then I think it might go back to desert at some point in the Great Basin. I think it'll be desertous. So honestly, I'm not sure how many miles of desert technically are the trail. Is the terrain starting to get more varied or still pretty flat? Yes, the terrain has been a little more varied, more hills, more climbs, but it is still pretty flat. And I think most of New Mexico is. What is your opinion on cold soaking versus cooking meals? Never have cold soaked, so I can't speak for that really. I know there is some information out there about it though. So I really like a hot meal though. Great Canadian trails, 6,500 kilometers, 30% is by canoe. That's awesome. That sounds great. Aaron says, no question here. Just wanted to say hi and drop some encouragement. Thanks for all the updates you have been giving us along the way. You're the best. I'm glad to know that y'all do like the updates. That's good to know because, you know, I didn't want to like be posting too much. But so yeah, I think, you know, if daily is not annoying y'all, then I'll kind of keep, you know, trying to do some of that as long as I have service. Let's see, I think I'm gonna check on here because there were some questions of folks that couldn't be here. I got my laptop I sent ahead to here. So let's see. Dixie, I love the way you share how things are going on your walks. I'm sure you've covered this, but do you use the built-in mic on your phone for audio? And is Aaron the person doing your editing? Thanks so much for inspiring all of us. So I am using the built-in mic except when it gets like really windy outside, and then I put headphones in. I had a mic that I was using, and it does something to the audio. It's messing up the audio. It sounds like a bad connection. So I'm going to contact the manufacturer of that mic and see if they can replace it, because the sound sounded good except for when it did that connection thing. You could tell it was like something with the mic, not with the wind. So otherwise it sounded pretty good. So I'm trying to work on that. And now I have another little mic that I was wearing when I did the videos at home. I'm going to try that now and see how that works while I contact those people. And Aaron is editing, so he's the one still doing the editing even though he's here. Let's see. I'd love to hear more about water. Do you think it's going to be necessary to subscribe to water drops as the trail becomes more traveled, possibly due to climate fluctuations? Prepaid water may become imperative. Has your source remained reliable? Okay, so I think you're actually in here, Vic, but just to add to that, yes, I think that the caches will be something that people have to rely on pretty much regardless. I mean, unless some of the landowners are like, yes, this, you know, cattle trough here can be used by hikers or whatever. So I think they'll just have to put more bear boxes out there with more water jugs in it as it becomes more and more popular. And the water sources have just been those troughs, and they are reliable because, you know, people's cattle are relying on them, but still no natural sources. So let's see. Wondering if you miss having your camp shoes along, or is it still not worth the wait? So I do miss my camp shoes at times, like when I'm going to dinner, you know, when I get into town more, I miss them than like actually at camp. But I've been getting by, and I'm not gonna add them. That's 6 ounces I'm saving, so I'm not gonna add them back, even though I do miss them a little bit. Let's see. Okay, question about Aaron that I already answered. Okay, I answered that one by Drew. And then, what inspired Aaron to join you on the CDT? Did your passion for hiking rub off on him as he edited footage you sent him, or was it because he was curious to get firsthand experience of collecting the video footage, or maybe to explore ways of making what you're doing even better? So basically, he was ready to do something else. Like, he was ready to try something new. I think, yeah, having to sit there and edit footage, you know, inside back home in Alabama, instead of being out there, was probably frustrating. And so, yeah, he said he wanted to come, and so he's out here. And so far, you know, it seems like we've got a pretty good system going on. So let's see. Okay, we compared the CDT desert and the PCT desert already, and Lloyd says, I hope y'all aren't getting burned out on road walking. At least the Route 66 portion is cool to see. Check out all the old gas stations and cafes. Supposedly Hemingway wrote Old Man in the Sea in Cubero, New Mexico. So not burned out on road walking yet, because this is like the first stretch that we've done on a highway. So we've done like dirt road walking, but that just feels like a really wide trail. And how is the trail hunger, Russ wanted to know. And the trail hunger, I don't have it yet. I have been eating less sugar this time than normal, than before. So I don't know if, you know, just not eating that has, you know, made me not want more of it. I don't know. So I would say the hiker hunger has not kicked in yet at all, really. So there have been nights where I've like had to make myself eat because I know that I need to. All right, so that's all the ones that people who couldn't make it asked. So let's see. Do you think that the ability to hike in a corridor contributes to not seeing more hikers, meaning not passing on a set trail? Potentially, but I think a lot of the hikers are taking the same alternates because either they're more beautiful, they're shorter, or because there's better water, or there is water, whereas on the actual CDT there might not be water. So I think a lot of us end up taking the same routes. I think what it is that you don't have as many gathering points, so there aren't like designated camping areas. There aren't like flowing water sources that people are camping by and things like that. There aren't privies, so I think that's more of it, and that there just aren't as many of us out here. Let's see. Philip said good night. Good night, Philip. Stupid question here. There are no stupid questions. But how are you figuring out how many miles you walked each day, looking at maps, GPS app, etc.? So GutHooks app. GutHooks is the app that I use, and it tells you like where you're at in PCT miles. So I just go, okay, I started at 85 today, 85.0, and I finished at 100.2, so I hiked 15.2 miles. So that's how I'm doing it. Daily is great, Ed says. The updates are great. Wayne says, good. I'm glad that y'all are enjoying those. Brian says, are you going to be posting random videos like you did on the AT and PCT, or is it going to be more like these Q&A type? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So like on the AT, I did do some Q&As, but they weren't like live with Patreon. I didn't have Patreon yet. So I would just take common questions I was getting in the comments on the videos, and I would just like read those off and answer them. And then on the PCT, I did, these live Q&As, but y'all actually get to ask the questions, and then, later they're posted to YouTube at a later time, not interacting, but, they're posted so that people who have similar questions can hear the answer to them. So we'll be putting out some of these Q&As that are recorded like this one, Love the daily updates. Keep them coming. They have been nice until your YouTube videos start. Okay, good. Yeah, I want y'all to know about stuff before 3 weeks later, I want y'all to be more up to date. And I'm trying to do the Q&As every time I get good Wi-Fi. So doing my first overnight backpacking trip tomorrow night. Yay, Jim, have fun and enjoy it. That's awesome. You'll have to let me know how that goes. And Michael says, I enjoy the daily updates. Keep them coming as long as you've got service and it doesn't compromise your trek. No, I enjoy sharing with y'all. I really do. And like all of your comments are so encouraging, and I know a lot of folks are like, oh, you've inspired me to get outside, but like y'all inspire me to keep pushing and doing what I love. So I really appreciate that. Paul says, is GutHooks an annual thing, or do you buy once and you're good? As far as I know, you buy once and you're good. I still have my PCT one. I assume that when it's updated, it's updated and it's in there, because like when you make a comment and you get to town, it updates in there. So, I assume that they just keep making corrections and that you're good. I'm sure there is probably like an FAQ on the GutHooks website. You can check that, but I feel like that's the case, that you're good once you get it. But at least it would be like really close, if not, if it was an older version a little bit. But I really do think that they update it, and like when you get to town, it's able to catch up if anything has been changed. So yeah. There we go. Now, if you get a new phone, I think even like if you get a new phone, you can contact them, and I can't remember how I did it, but you can get it back on your phone, supposedly. So, gotta go, Dixie. Be sure to check the Dropbox tomorrow. If you can get there, will be something in there. Okay, awesome. Sweet. All right, well, I think that is all the questions that we've got for this Q&A. So, thank y'all for joining, and Gus wants you to know that we will do 4 days on the AT this summer out by Asheville. Oh, cool. Well, tell Gus that I hope that he enjoys it. I know it's not skiing or snowboarding or, anything in the snow, but hopefully y'all will have a great time. So have fun, Gus. Good night. Thank you, the kids loved it. Oh, good. I'm glad they did. I'm glad. That's so cool that there are kids watching this and enjoying it. So y'all are doing some good parenting. I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak. I don't have my own children, but that's how I would think I would want to do it. So, all right. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for dropping in. And, as soon as I get good Wi-Fi in another town, I will definitely do another live Q&A. And otherwise, I'll be updating. And y'all feel free to ask questions, on those posts. And I'll keep answering them. So thank y'all so much for everything and the support. And we'll see y'all next time.